Sunday night, y'all. It's Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with another Sunday night live stream fishing show. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We're going to get started here shortly. Happy Sunday night, Facebook. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with another Sunday night live stream fishing show. Tonight we got a great show lined up for you. It is Sunday night, October 13th at 8:27 p.m. If you are watching live, stay tuned. We're going to be talking nearshore and offshore fishing, tips, tricks, and more. I've got Captain Frank Batchelor with me talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing as well. We're going to be answering your questions. We're going to be giving away free fishing trips and lots more tips, tricks, and other info. So stay tuned, guys. If you're not watching live, if you're not watching this Sunday night, October 13th, you can go ahead and skip forward to where you see the video start. If you are watching live, make sure to just hang on. We're going to start here in about 4 minutes. Keep in mind, guys, help us out whether you're watching live or not watching live. Make sure you give that video a thumbs up on YouTube or a like on Facebook for us. We'd highly appreciate it. Don't forget to comment and tell us where you're watching from. And don't forget to share the video with friends. We appreciate it. We're going to get started here very shortly. As always, we're going to give away a free 5-hour half day for 2 people, 10-hour all day for 2 people, and we're going to give away a 39-hour for half price for 1 person. But if we get up to 300 live viewers between Facebook and YouTube, someone's getting a free 39-hour fishing trip. So stay tuned. In order to win those free trips, you do have to be watching live. You do have to comment on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook page video at least 1 time. You can just say hello or whatever you want. And once you comment on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, that enters you to have a chance to win that free trip. Once you've commented, you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on Facebook, wherever you want. It doesn't matter, but you do have to comment 1 time on the Facebook stream in order to be eligible to win. And then we're going to pick out some lucky winners in a little bit as we go through the show. And if you are picked, you have to comment or you have to message our Facebook page within about 10 minutes or so, because you have to be watching live in order to win. Those are the rules. Hopefully you guys are ready for a great show. Captain Frank, you ready?
I'm ready.
He's ready. We're raring to go here, guys. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Remember, don't forget to tell your friends. Don't forget to comment where you're watching from. If you're watching on Facebook, give the video a like. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to give the video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. That always helps. We're doing pretty good on YouTube nowadays, but we got more exciting things in the works, and we look forward to having you guys join us for that. And we got some good stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to be talking a little bit about hogfish, Captain Frank's favorite, right, bud?
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
We're going to be talking about kingfish, gag grouper season. Well, gag grouper season is open now, but it's going to get better and better. It's a great time of year, isn't it?
It's a great time of year to be fishing right now.
Great time of year to be fishing.
And next week looks amazing.
Yeah, and when is not a good time to go fishing, you know?
During a hurricane, Dylan.
Such a smart ass. Touche, but most of the time, there's never a bad time to go fishing. But I guess in a hurricane, that's a valid point.
Yeah. I'd just like to put the facts out there.
Luckily, hurricane season is over. Well, kinda. I guess you can still get them in October, but we're pretty much beyond that. We got a bad to the bone cold front, looks like next week, but this week looks beautiful. We were just looking at the weather together, Frank and I, here before the show started, and the next 5 to 7 days, really the next 7 days, look really, really good near shore. And then offshore looks a little bumpy starting Saturday afternoon, Sunday coming up, so a week from today. But for nearshore fishing, next 7-8 days look real good. So time to get out there and go fishing if you have the ability or the time. But remember, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too busy. You about ready to start here, Frank?
Let's do it.
We're about ready, guys. We're just a minute or two away. Appreciate y'all spending your Sunday nights with us. Don't forget to comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to share the video stream on Facebook to your favorite fishing club, to your timeline, to your friends' timelines. Start a watch party, whatever you want to do. Just help us spread the word, guys.
Club,
to your
we are
timeline,
live on
to your
our
friend's YouTube channel and Facebook. And I think it's ready. I think it's go time.
Let's do this.
Let's do this thing. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks Frank for coming. Appreciate it. So tonight, guys, we're going to be talking all about nearshore and offshore fishing, as always. And we got some photos to look through. Don't have a ton of photos. Unfortunately, I was a little remiss today. Didn't get my USB drive going. Normally I transfer a bunch of files to make sure they're here at home when I get here. Unfortunately, I left it up to the internet to do a transfer and it failed. So we just have a few of the 44-hour photos to look at, but there's some good ones here, guys. That 44-hour trip came in this morning. It was our first long-range 39 or 44-hour trip since September 13th, so it's been a while. We were real excited to get back out there. Unfortunately, the fish weren't as excited as we were. It was a little bit of a tough trip, a little bit of a slow bite, but those who sat at the rail and grinded it out, they actually did pretty well. There was some advanced anglers that had real nice stringers. One dude had a limit of amberjack, 2 keeper grouper, and then almost probably a dozen mangroves.
Nice.
So, I mean, that's a really good trip. That's a ton of meat. But there was other guys who had just a handful of vermilions and a couple mangroves and no keeper, grouper, or amberjack to write home about. So it was tough for some people. Others did really well. It was just one of those trips. It was beautiful weather. But, I mean, just like that half-day trip that you and I were on this past week.
Oh, God.
The weather was gorgeous. There was no wind, no waves.
Yeah.
But it made the fishing slow.
Yeah, the one trip that we had a bunch of scientists from the fisheries. We've had the last 20 trips have caught hogfish, except for that one. No hogs, no mangoes. It was unbelievable. It was like a setup. I think he put something in the bait or something.
So it was a little background here. We were I was talking last week about that outreach and education symposium thing that I was attending. So it was a release mortality workshop, all about releasing fish offshore and making sure the fish we release offshore live to fight another day. And we had a bunch of scientists. We had a bunch of industry guys. I mean, there was one guy there, Dr. Greg Stuns. He's on Shark Week like 3 out of the 5 days all the time. He's super popular, very intelligent. We had some really high tier fishery scientists and managers. And we finally got him to go out on a trip with us so we could show him firsthand how good we do on our boats with releasing these fish. And we take them all out there. Gorgeous weather, beautiful trip. Looking forward to it. We get up on this spot. I mean, that was a beautiful little piece of bottom you brought us to. And I was down there working the crowd. We're all excited, hyping them up. And
Yeah. There's not much to say.
That was the end of the story. That was the end of the story.
Yeah.
So similar to that, the 44-hour trip went out there. Gorgeous weather. Beautiful, beautiful time out on the water this weekend. Less than 2 foot seas. It was really like 1 foot all times. Just a beautiful trip. But because of that, the fishing was slow. But let's get to look at some of these photos. Let's see what they caught out there. So here's a nice big old red grouper. That's a pretty fat one, man. I like those big red groupers.
Okay, I see what they're seeing. Okay, Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you could crop Jason out of the picture, it'd be a lovely photo.
So those big red grouper are awesome. Out there in the deep water fishing for those red groupers, I think my favorite bait. You kind of, when I used to work the deck for you, You kind of got me hooked on the old squid strips.
Yeah, the big strips, the whole length of the wing.
Yeah, some
big.
10. Whoa. That's way too much
It's
bait.
if you bring your own squid.
Long squid strips, about
Yeah.
6 to 8 inches, about maybe, I like about a ½ inch cut. You're basically mimicking an octopus tentacle.
Right. I've even gone as far as put a big piece on, cutting a few little, just so it moves. I mean, does it really make a difference with the red grouper? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you could catch one on a drumstick if you know.
Yeah. I have. Yeah.
you?
Yeah, those fried chicken drumsticks. When I was,
God.
yeah, when I was like 10, 12 years old, I was working the boat with, it was either Captain Doug or Captain Sal. I forget which one. And there were some guys from like Tennessee or something like that, and they were eating fried chicken. They were eating fried chicken, throwing over the bones. And you know when you throw a fried chicken bone
Right.
in, it's like shooting up all this grease.
Yeah, the oil.
Yeah, we caught a big old red grouper, and it spit up one of his chicken bones.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so Captain Sal, or whoever the captain was, I can't remember who it was at the time. I was pretty young. But he was like, oh, why don't we drop one of those down? Put the hook right through the end of the bone, dropped it down.
Get out of here. That's
Instant.
cool.
Yeah, so
That's
red
cool.
grouper are kind of trash cans, but those
Yeah.
those squid strips are a great option.
Yeah.
Catch them on bonita strips, and then also just live bait like pinfish or
Yeah.
pigfish.
I like lizard fish too for them.
Yeah, that's one of your secret live bait option.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah.
Let that one slide out.
Yeah. Nobody tell anybody about that lizard fish. Live lizard fish, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if they're dead, I don't take them off the hook.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, they'll eat a dead lizard fish too.
for sure.
They'll eat just about anything.
If they're dead, I butterfly them. If they die, I butterfly them. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'd rather have them live. But if because the gag will eat a live lizard fish too.
Yeah, the butterfly bait's always good.
Yeah.
If they die and you butterfly them, it's essentially like they're still alive because that butterfly action still gets that meat of flapping.
Right.
I got you. So a couple nice mangroves from the 44 hour. They had some really big mangrove snapper on this trip. So pretty cool to see those big mangroves coming back. And that's a great part about this time of year. As the water cools off, we don't have the huge magnitude of mangrove snappers that we see during the warmer months. But we do pick out them pretty consistently, and the ones we catch are generally a lot larger. So we're seeing some really big mangrove snapper, and this 44-hour trip is kind of the start of it. It's just getting to this time of year where it's cool at night, getting hot during the day still, but we got a big cold front on the way next week around the 22nd, and we saw like 65 degrees forecasted midday. So that cold front should definitely start shaking things up. Look at that thing.
Oh, that's a nice AJ.
That was a healthy jack.
Yeah, it was.
This is the guy I was talking about in the beginning when talking about some of the advanced anglers. He comes out fishing. He's from the East Coast. Him and his buddies came over, and they do a couple trips a year with us, but he was the one who caught 2 big amberjack. He had a second one that was about the same size.
Nice.
And some nice keeper grouper and a bunch of mangroves. And those amberjack are not easy. They hooked a ton of amberjack on this trip. They probably easily hooked 20, 25 big jacks. But they were fishing a certain piece of bottom, a certain wreck, spring, big ledge, and it was just busting them off. They were just running down.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, John Martin said he hooked an amberjack, broke him off, and he reeled it up. He was chafed 60 feet up his line from his hook. So that is a big piece of structure holding those jacks, and it makes it easier for him to break you off. But this guy was doing it right. He caught 2 keeper jacks, and you want to know how he did it?
He's near the surface.
That was it.
That was a guess.
That was a guess, but you guessed right. And for those of you who didn't hear that, he was fishing near the surface. The trick to these big amberjack, especially when you're fishing a piece of bottom like that, and generally to catch the biggest ones, is dropping it down slowly. And that's what he did. He drops the bait down until you can't see the bait anymore.
Yeah.
Once you can't see the bait anymore, you're generally, water's clear like this, you're generally 60, 80 feet
That's
down.
right.
And then you just put your thumb on that reel real hard and then let it drop the bottom real slowly with a big old live bait. And that's how he got these big amberjack, and they weren't able to get him down in the structure because he had a big old 9/0 reel, horsed him right out. Nice gag though.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Not real thick, but nice and long.
Yeah, he's kind of skinny, but yeah.
Yeah, he's got that rusty belly look almost. He's probably in the middle of changing sexes. It looks like his rust is starting to show. They're a weird fish, man.
Yeah, he looked like he had been kicked around a few times. his top fin and his missing his.
Yeah, he's missing that fin, and he's been missing. Yeah, looks like he's been down the block a few times. Yeah. Nice, big old aggressive gag, and he's skinny like that. Generally, that shows that they've been moving. He was probably up in the northern Gulf doing some mating in the humps or the Missile Range or Madison Swanson, and now he's heading back home to his home in our area, whether that's the Middle Grounds, Elbow, or
his home's a skillet now.
His home's a skillet now. Touche.
He didn't make it home.
He didn't make it home.
He needed Nemo.
He was trying to make it home, but he was caught. But those gags being long and skinny like that, that's a really good sign that those fish are on the move. And as those cold fronts start coming, those fish will get on the move even more. And we're going to see them moving closer to shore more and more. So we're going to start seeing them on the 10-hour trip. We're going to start seeing them on those near-shore charters. Definitely exciting time of year coming. Nice big old red grouper there. That was the biggest red grouper of the trip.
It's pretty too.
That's a fatty.
If that sun would have been hitting on that boy, that thing would have looked great.
Yeah, that would have been a beautiful photo. Nice big old amberjack there. Eric Deskins. Beautiful fish. And that's it. Those are all our photos. We didn't have a lot of photos. I warned you.
What about all my hogfish photos from this week? Don't we have any of those?
No, Dusty is holding out on me apparently.
Dusty, if you're watching it, I know you are.
No, there's hogfish photos from this week because
we caught like tons of hogfish this week.
I'm getting held out on.
We had one trip with 17 hogfish.
What?
Yes.
One trip with 17 hogfish. What trip was that?
We had 2 or 3 days with over 10 or 11. 15.
Tell
11.
us the story, man.
Well, it all started like this. No, of course, everyone that's been out with me knows that I love to do the hog fishing and I love to target them. Half days, full days, whatever it may be. And the mangrove snapper also.
Let me interject. A lot of people ask, what is the best trip to target hogfish, in your opinion? 5 hour, 10 hour?
Man, I would say I would spend more time with the 10 hour because, there's so many people on the half day that are there to catch just fish to eat for lunch. You know what I mean? They're there to have a good time, to have a lot of action, and that's what the half day is all about. Don't get mad at me if you come out on a half day and we don't fish for hogfish the whole time. But on a full day trip, we're anchoring all day long on hogfish spots in those areas, and that's when I would say you have your best shot for a hogfish. We do get quite a few of them on a half day. I try to anchor at least once or twice, and like this week, it's looking like we're not going to have a lot of wind. Yeah. I'm not going to anchor a whole lot this week, but you see a day where it's 10, 15 knot winds, and we're going to have to anchor because we can't drift. Well, I'm going to be anchoring on hogfish spots the entire day, So it's kind of there's a little give and take. You want the good weather so you can catch a bunch of the gray snappers, because in my opinion, the time you spend fishing, honestly, those are my favorite to eat.
Yeah.
The hogfish, I want to catch a hogfish more than any other fish because I love catching them. I love taking photos with them, but I love eating the gray snappers. I like black and gray snapper. It's my favorite. But the hogfish is my passion to catch them. But to each their own on the fish. I mean, ultimately, I'd rather eat a dozen chicken wings than fish in my opinion. But if I have to eat fish,
that's because you're spoiled.
Yeah, if I have to eat fish, the black and gray snapper, tacos is a personal favorite.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna be craving chicken wings, but my favorite as far as fish goes is taking it to the restaurant next door, and that's not a shameless plug.
Absolutely,
that's not a shameless plug. That's just how much I like the food next door. whether it's getting it blackened when my wife is going to eat it with me because she wants us to be healthy, or getting
Or
it
she's
Cajun
not there,
fried.
and we get a Cajun fried.
Heck yeah, Cajun fried the way to go. But it's definitely really, really nice being able to hang out at the dock and sit on that deck and enjoy that fresh caught fish.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, the Cajun fried there is definitely a go-to for me also.
Oh, yeah. So while we're on the subject of food, what's your favorite fish to eat? Give me a top 5. On the spot.
Steak, chicken, and pork? No. Oh, no. Fish.
Steak, chicken.
Okay, no shellfish, right? Just fish.
Yeah,
okay.
just fish. Shellfish,
All right,
that
so
list
in
is
this
too
order,
long.
strawberry grouper,
All right.
scamp, and then the gray snappers.
All right.
And then I would go gag grouper. Maybe gag grouper, and it all depends on how you're cooking, what you're cooking. If I'm making blackened fish tacos, again, I like the gray snappers, and that's mainly what I like to eat is all my fish blackened.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I'm of course a sucker for tuna. I would eat raw tuna every day of the week.
Oh, heck yeah.
But cooked fish, it's kind of difficult after doing it for so long. Shellfish I love, but the fish, it's got to be the right day.
Yeah.
It's got to be the right day.
I really like, if we're talking raw fish, salmon.
Yeah.
Some of that wild caught salmon.
Yep.
Unfortunately, can't catch that here, but I definitely agree with you. Strawberry grouper, scamp grouper, but I would throw in some of those deep water species like the barrel fish. Lionfish is very high up there.
I can't say I've tried a barrel fish yet.
They're incredible good.
Okay.
It's like, you go to a sushi restaurant and they have that escalar on the menu?
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, dog.
Oh, well, I've eaten barrel fish.
Yeah, very good.
Who'd-
Well, that's
who'd
what
have
I was
thought?
told. I don't know. Someone's probably out there knows
Somebody's
better.
out there. Those dumb and dumb. I'm going to troll this guy.
I don't know. I really like it. It's really good. Lionfish was definitely up there. Gray snapper, the Key West grunts, definitely real good. But
all those people that throw those little strawberries, they're like, oh, I don't want that thing. I throw them right in the fish box, and I just keep them. And some people I might not tell them, but if they don't want them,
yeah, exactly.
If I walk away with 6 little strawberry groupers this big, that is a dinner. That is, man, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, and definitely that reminds me of Captain Matt back in the day. Captain Matt used to run the 39-hour trips, and when I would fish on the 39-hour trips when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, he would not let anybody on the boat keep a triggerfish. This was back before they started talking about triggerfish and the regulations, and triggers became real popular. That was before anybody knew about triggerfish, and he wouldn't let any customers keep them. He would throw them all on a stringer for him. That's
is
how
that
much
right?
he likes them. Yeah,
I didn't know
triggerfish
that.
are definitely real high up on the list for me too. But this day and age,
I've
only
tried
open.
them. I mean, it's almost like a grouper cheek. You gotta, it's a hearty piece of fish, and if that's what you're down with, then you would like it. If you like grouper cheeks, you would like triggerfish.
Yeah, they're definitely a little bit more firm.
Yeah, for sure.
Blackened is real good. Oh, why did we get off on food?
I don't know, because we're not sitting here eating chicken wings.
That's what happened. You mentioned chicken wings. Well, we are over 300 live viewers at this point, guys. So someone is going to get a free 39-hour fishing trip. So definitely.
Who's that going to be?
I don't know.
Oh, you got to do the...
Yeah, the old clickety-clackety.
Yeah, clickety-clack-clack.
All right, so let's go ahead and give away a 5-hour half day for 2 people. This could be your lucky hogfish trip. Maybe catch some mackerel, maybe even a king.
For 2 people, who wants it bad? Who wants it bad? We want to hear about it right now.
Tampa fans in the house. Glenn Foster, local, won that 5-hour half day for 2 people. Congratulations, Mr. Foster. Remember, if you are picked as that lucky winner, you do have to message our page in 10 minutes or so or less. That way it shows that you were watching live. And we still got a 10-hour all day for 2 and a 39-hour free trip for 1 lucky winner coming up too. So don't go anywhere. Hopefully some of you guys have some questions for us. Don't be afraid to comment on...
I like the one, I don't know where it's at right now, but he said, how about running an 8 to 10 hour hogfish beatdown? I like that. I like the That's
a good
I've
idea.
said that before. I think let's go beat them down.
Yeah, we can always plan one of those. The friendly's almost back in action.
Yeah, that's what we're waiting on, guys. As soon as the
Yeah.
friendly's back for those 10-hour trips, we're back on them. So
And the friendly will be back. The friendly is gonna hopefully be back at the dock, coming home from Tarpon Springs the afternoon of Tuesday the 15th. That's 2 days from now. We got our first motor back. Second motor's gonna show up any day now. Then we're gonna put them in the boat with a crane. Once the boat has the motors and the transmissions hooked back up, they're gonna be making their way back Tuesday afternoon, early Tuesday night. Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to be putting everything back together. Friday morning early, the Coast Guard will be there. Coast Guard inspection all day Friday.
When's the boat going to be ready?
I'm going through the whole thing. Jeez.
That's a lot to that.
All right. Boat's going to be back the 19th. We got private charters on the 19th, so we have to be ready.
All right, there it is.
All right. So our first 10-hour on the friendly will be on the 20th.
Fantastic.
Yep. So long story short,
7 days.
Yep. 1
7
week,
days, and we'll be back on that 10-hour hogfish. What would you call it? The beatdown. The hogfish beatdown.
I feel like every 10-hour all day is a hogfish beatdown.
It is.
Because that's kind of what
good.
you're targeting
it's
right
pretty,
now.
Yeah.
This time of year, it's hogfish, and the kingfish are going to start showing up anytime.
They're right around the corner for sure.
We've been catching a few kingfish here and there, but they're not super thick yet. And then we got hogfish, kingfish, and then before we know it, once the kingfish slow down, then the water's too cold, the kingfish move away, and that's when the gags start really biting.
I think they're rolling in now. Honest to God, I've seen so many people get their butts handed them, dropping those shrimp down for the hogfish, and they're not getting hit by hogs.
Yeah,
and they're not getting hit by 20-inch gag groupers. These are big. I really believe that these big groupers are moving in. I took a boat out this weekend.
You were telling me a little bit about that, and you wouldn't tell me the whole story. You wanted to tell these guys about your trip on that boat. And I know you had a funny story.
I did have a funny story, and I will include it in there. The fishing was so good, they were jumping in the boat. Literally, we were driving along, and a Spanish mackerel came flying in the boat.
What?
We got to the first fishing hole, we already had fish in the boat without even putting on one piece of bait.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
And that's the difference between the boats you normally ride on, where Spanish mackerel, even if it jumped as high as it could, couldn't make it on the deck of the friendly.
Not on the friendly, right.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I went out, I started off in 22 feet of water, just outside of John's Pass.
Your secret gag hole.
I got this little secret gag hole you might know about, but that one, So, and we got our butts handed to us a couple times on that spot. Didn't get... They didn't hit my rod. All right, they didn't hit my rod. All right, because I would have had a better story and more pictures. But so Andy, if you're listening,
it was Andy's fault. Called out by name.
Oh man,
Tough crowd.
I didn't say a last name. But so anyhow, we moved along. We went out 16 miles, and that's where we started hammering on the some gags. We got 30-inch plus gags and red groupers that were 22 to 24. And some mangoes and hogfish, and I think that whenever they put those, I'm a firm believer on this. Whenever they put those crab pots in the water, that's when
they're chum blocks.
It's like a thousands and thousands of chum blocks going in the water. And some of you guys already know about that, but a lot of you guys are new to fishing. And when the stone crabs are
October 15th, they went in the water.
Yeah, well, they went in the water, I think 10 days early.
Yes, up to 10 days early.
So October 5th, they start putting in these crab pots, and you're talking about a chum slick the entire coast for 30 to 40 feet deep, or 19
from the
feet
beach
to
all the way
40
out to
feet, maybe even a little deeper than that. It's a giant chum block out there.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't the gags move in? And I think the water's cooling off a little. I feel cooler this time of year.
And what else do those crab traps bring us but the triple tail?
The
triple tail. That's another part that makes this time of year exciting.
I didn't add that into great eating fish. I don't know if anybody had said something about that, but a triple tail is definitely up there on my list.
Yeah.
Of course, blackened, but
Everything's black.
Everything's black.
But the triple tail are definitely around this time of year because those crab buoys, they hide up underneath them. And a lot of people like going triple tail fishing. The triple tail have been super thick inside Tampa Bay right now, around even upper Tampa Bay, inside the Gandy. I have a couple friends that have been doing well. All those channel markers inside Tampa Bay. But the triple tail are going to be moving out along the coast under those crab buoys, and you catch a few of them on the half-day trip occasionally with your hogfish setups, right?
Absolutely. Most of them that we get is actually just rolling from one spot to the next. Seeing them on a buoy or a floating piece of debris, any kind of piece of debris we see out there, almost every time there's a triple tail on it. Not every crab pot buoy has a triple tail, but almost every other piece of floating debris the size of a 5-gallon bucket lid or bigger. I've even seen them floating on plastic cups.
Plastic cups?
On a plastic cup this big. Seen triple tails sitting underneath them this big. And it's just...
He was trying to get some reprieve.
Yeah, he was just trying to shade one corner or something. I don't know.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll stop, even if we're late coming in, and I'm pretty... I'm known for coming in a little bit late from time to time, I'll stop for if I see a triple tail that looks like he's a keeper. We're gonna stop and grab him up real quick because they're good thing is they're a pretty dumb fish unless somebody has stopped on there trying to get them a few times and they do smarten up, but just like a cobia, you get them 90% of the time. You can almost gaff them at the side of the boat. You got that other 10% where they're like, why won't this thing touch anything?
Yeah. But a little a live shrimp on a hogfish setup, like 20-pound fluorocarbon, like a 3/0 hook seems to work really well. And if you're not accurate enough to cast a live shrimp free-lined, a good tip that I learned from some of the guys in South Carolina at one of these fisheries meetings. We were talking about triple tail up in South Carolina. They have a crazy triple tail fishery, and they run triple tail charters, and they're and they're monster triple tail up there, and there's thousands of them. So what they do with their clients targeting triple tails, they'll use a popping cork, like one of those DOA popping corks, and they'll put that about 6 to 8 inches above the hook. So that way you have some weight and you can overcast. Like if you see the buoy, typically with a free line, if you got the buoy here, you're trying to get that shrimp pretty darn close to that buoy, and that hogfish is going to come out from underneath it and hit it. That's what I said, triple tail. With the popping cork, you got more weight. Yeah. So what you would do is you'd overcast that buoy, purposely cast past it, because when the popping cork hits the water, you don't want to spook the triple tail, and then you can retrieve that bobber to the buoy, and it also gives you something visual. You know where your bait is, so you can cast from further distance and still be accurate.
Right, but you got to beat the other guy to the triple tail. You know what I mean? In our situation, when we're on the boat, you've got to have.
Frank has been known to push people down.
I've been known to give Smokey the wheel so I can go get the triple tail myself. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's definitely dog eat dog when those triple tails are out there. Yeah. But let's get into some of these questions. One question was, why do you guys use the old Penn reel size references? It doesn't help me. Penn 9/0 reels went out many years ago. But we still use Penn 9/0 reels a lot.
I just bought a 6/0 reel 3 days ago. It was 40, 50 years old.
Yeah, I just bought a 9/0 reel not too long ago myself. So Penn 9/0, 6/0 reels, they didn't go out. They're still those American-made ones you can find at...
They still make them, right?
No.
A 4/0 is a 114.
Yeah. Well, the Penn still makes the 9/0.
113. 113, excuse me.
Yeah, they still make those style reels, but they're not the American-made heavy metal ones.
So that's a good point.
Chinese plastic ones.
I purchased a 40-year-old one, whether it's 20 years old or 40 years old. Yeah. They're very good quality, and I like them because all these newer reels, a lot of them are high speed, and even with the 2-speed, even with the drags, there's something about those old reels that the slow speed, you hook onto a gag that in this shallow, especially the shallow water, they fight so much different than a gag
more
that's
aggressively.
120 feet. Yeah. a fish that's coming up in 40 feet or 50 feet of water,
They're
or
more
even
frisky.
off a seawall. If you lock down a drag on 80 pound on a seawall, they have you running up and down the seawall. I don't know how they can beat me up so bad, but they do. But those, and like I said, I just purchased a 6-aught to fish in 50 feet of water.
Yeah.
You know?
And to answer your question, it's kind of two-part. The reason we still use those size references is because most of us, especially Garrett, like Garrett will not fish with any other reel besides one of those old Penn American-made.
Is that
metal
right?
reel. Yeah, he fishes a 4-aught Penn reel with
I know
3 to
that he
1
does,
gear ratio for mangroves.
But I didn't know that. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his thing.
Oh, he's old school, dog.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's crazy. Myself, I like using some of those newer, fancier reels, and I know
I've
Frank does
got
too.
him too. Yeah.
But the reason we use those old pen size references is because Daiwa's sizes don't match up to Shimano sizes, that don't match up to Avette sizes, that don't match up to Accurate sizes. So I have customers calling me and emailing me and asking, hey, what about this reel, this Accurate 16 LW, whatever it is? And it's hard to know what size reel it is.
Somebody had asked. I'm just answering a question.
Because they're all so different. So we use those size references because it gives you a visual aid. Like, hey, if you know what a 6-aught reel is, you know how your new fancy high-speed reel compares. But it is a good point. As far as amberjack, I mentioned you need a 9-aught reel. So as far as drag capacity, you're going for 45, 50 plus pounds of drag. Something with a lot of drag and a low gear ratio. 2 to 1, 3 to 1 gear ratio. You want that combination for amberjack. 2 to 1, 3 to 1 gear ratio, 45, 50 pounds of drag or more, if you can find it. Another question was on the amberjack.
For a minute there, I thought this was one person asking all these questions.
No. When you were talking, I was
I got
copying
you.
and pasting questions.
Okay, cool.
So another question was, on the amberjack, is monofilament or braid better? My opinion, monofilament.
Well, because of the stretch.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I would not want to fight an amberjack
And then
with braid.
you've got the whole party boat thing.
Yeah.
All right, so...
But even without a party boat, if I was on that little 31-foot boat you had running 50 mile an hour, or my dream boat, a big old Freeman, I would not fish amberjack with braid unless I was vertical jigging with a super soft rod, because braid will beat you up.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have a bruise this big underneath your underarm.
And, the AJs do beat you up. And everybody knows that, but, you wouldn't catch me fishing for AJs. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry if that offends anybody.
I would fish for them and hook them, but I would pass them off to somebody.
That's up my
Work smart.
my style there. Yeah. Oh, here, you haven't caught anything all day? Here, you can have this.
Yeah, amberjack, I mean, definitely would go monofilament just because of that stretch. And a lot of times with braid, it enables them to tear that hole in the side of their mouth and spit your hook. So if you're going to fish braid, put a long top shot on it, or just fish straight mono. My big old Penn 9-aught, my big Penn 12-aught, they are filled with monofilament for that reason. When I'm fishing for big gags, big amberjack, it's all mono. The only time I use braid offshore is when I'm fishing in deeper water, 120, 140 foot or more, fishing for snapper, or if I'm vertical jig fishing, or if I'm fishing for hogfish in shallow water, flat lining because I want a lot of line capacity. Those are about the main times I would use braided line. But in all those situations, you're using a top shot to make sure you have a little bit of stretch so that fish can't spit your hook.
Yeah, I do love the sensitivity of of braided line, but you don't necessarily really need sensitivity for an amberjack. You know what I mean? That's not what
you're gonna feel the bite.
That's something you might want for a hogfish, because the way they bite, and that's something if I could touch base on real quick.
Go for it.
If you ever YouTube video on the hogfish feeding, you'll see what they do is they suck those shrimp in, they chew them up, and spit it right back out, and it's almost still whole.
Yeah,
it's like they're almost shelling it.
They have a crusher in the back of their throat.
Right, and they spit it back out, and if you can feel that, because it's like, but occasionally a hogfish will hit you not just occasionally, half the time a hogfish will hit
Yeah.
you and go for it.
And that's
then
what's
other
so
times-
challenging about hogfish.
Yeah.
Is they'll either do it like that, they'll come up and they'll just mouth it and then they'll eat it and just nibble on it and steal your bait, or they'll come up and just freaking rail you.
Rail you.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's hard to tell because in the same spot in the same 10 minutes, it'll happen.
Yep.
It'll happen one of two ways. So you got to be prepared because they fight really hard.
Yeah, they do. They feel. And, you know, I use a small, real small, a CI4. I think it's a 2500.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah,
way
I love
too
having.
small.
No, it's fun.
Oh,
It
man.
makes it fun. Come on.
That makes it way too
Yeah, that's fun.
one-sided.
You put a little, 20 feet of top shot, 30-pound on there, and and that's only for scraping the, if it scrapes on the corals, it gives you a little bit more. Can you use 20 pound? Sure you can. I've used 20 pound. I have it in my bag every time I go, but 30 pound is kind of, it's where I find a happy medium with break-offs versus you get a few other fish that
So you
that
like
bag.
20 pound when targeting hogfish?
Yeah.
I go 30 pound
I
myself.
mean, I think you just get more bites on the 20 pound, and you might get your ass handed to you a few more times on the 20 pound.
Yeah.
But you do get a lot more bites for sure, and the mangoes that are out there too, they absolutely would hit the 20 pound.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people use that fluorocarbon, and I just don't use that, but it's to each their own. Online, I'm not even going to get into that. That's a whole nother. It's a whole nother. We're going to need a
whole nother show.
a couple Sundays for that.
All right. So another question was about triple tail. We kind of already mentioned it. The triple tail are definitely still here. They're only going to get more and more prolific around the near shore. Right now, they're really up in the bay, but they're going to start moving out on the beaches under those crab pots any day now. Another one was, what's your favorite AJ recipe? I like smoking my amberjack and making fish spread. My fish spread recipe is a little bit of sour cream, a lot of cream cheese, Worcestershire sauce, and then horseradish, a little bit of horseradish, and then fresh jalapenos and some of those little red hot peppers.
Okay.
Mix all that together. Oh, raw onion and raw green pepper, but not a lot. I don't like a lot of vegetables. I like a lot of jalapenos, but not a lot of.
It sounds really great.
green
Maybe you
peppers.
could invite me over for dinner sometime, Dylan.
Maybe.
Instead of bringing me here all hungry.
Yeah. So, but as far as my recipe, the old Hubbard family secret, it's not really a secret, I'll tell you, is
It's
when
pepper.
No, I like when I'm grilling, when I'm baking fish, it doesn't matter. Hellman's mayo. That's the secret. You take Hellman's mayo and you put a nice thick cover, not super thick, but pretty healthy cover of mayo over the fish, and then season the heck out of it. The mayo cooks right off, so you don't have all that fat mayo stuff all over your fish.
This is why we have man boobs.
No, the mayo cooks off, I promise.
All right.
It just seals
No, I've
in the
never heard
moisture.
that. That's
It seals in the moisture and it makes it crispy. So you have a nice crispy fillet that's super, super moist. And you can cook it on a super hot grill. So then the inside is still very, very fresh
you do this on AJ?
on anything.
Oh, okay.
If I cook fish, I cover it in mayo.
What?
Heavy
Really?
season. Yep. I just changed your life, dog.
Chef Paul Perdune's blackening redfish magic.
I like the
Sponsor me,
Everglades.
please. Can I get sponsored?
Everglades seasoning. I like Everglades seasoning.
Yeah, I've got that too. It's a little hotter. It's
I like
it's
the
definitely hotter
Everglades
than that.
season. Another question was about red tide. Red tide is one of those hot button issues. It makes my blood boil.
Yeah.
But red tide is nowhere in our area, not even on our radar in our area.
Yeah.
There's a little tiny bit of red tide way down by Naples. Way down by
Somebody
Naples.
said something about the panhandle, and I was like,
I
I don't know. I haven't heard it.
I look at those red tide charts a lot, and the only red tide I've seen was like right off of Naples, still even further south in Fort Myers. So that's 3 hours 3.5, 4 hours by car away from us, just north of the Everglades, basically. And that's a very small, medium bloom. It's nothing real crazy, and it doesn't look like it's going to be coming up our way anytime soon. So to answer your question, there is no red tide present anywhere remotely close to us. So
There was a couple good questions in there. Yeah, thankfully,
Yeah.
the red tide missed us this year because the water's going to be hopefully getting cold enough. But one of the questions was the blackening season. I talk about it a lot, I guess, so I better tell it. And I did just say it, but I'll say it again. It's Chef Paul's Produne's Blackening Redfish Magic. You can buy it at Publix. They usually have 5 different kinds, but it's blackened redfish magic. That's where it all started. As far as I know, he's the originator of the blackening seasoning. It all started
from
in
New
Louisiana
Orleans.
from that guy. Now, I'm sure, he heard about, from some local place maybe there, but that's what I use. And the other one was, when am I growing my beard back? Yes, I
really don't like to shave face.
yeah, every once in a while, you shouldn't shave with cocktails. Okay, so I kind of got a little low, and before I knew it, I was like,
Uh-oh.
yeah, yeah, you probably
funny.
shouldn't do that. So it's. I would
don't
say,
junk shave.
give me 6 more days, I'll have the beard back.
Oh. Look at him. He can grow facial hair so fast.
Sorry, Dylan.
This is about 3 years in the making.
He started that when he was 18.
Like 8.
Yeah.
So another question I saw was, any predictions for tomorrow's 10-hour trip? So tomorrow's 10-hour trip is on the Hub. It's our last 10-hour trip on the Hub. This time of year when the Friendly Fisherman's in dry dock, the Hub, our private charter boats, run those 10-hour trips, and they've been doing pretty darn well. Some cobia, some kingfish, and a lot of nice hogs, a lot of lane snapper, vermilions, a few nice red grouper, a couple gags even. Christina Fernandez on the last 10-hour trip on the Hub caught like 2 or 3 keeper hogs.
Yeah, I saw that.
Big monster stringer lanes.
She does well with those. With these, she is a big fan of these guys.
Oh, she fishes.
I know Todd Crone's gonna love this. Here you go. If you're watching, buddy. She loves. I don't know what exactly her color is. I think it might be. Pink is
her color.
Is my favorite color.
Pink is her color for sure.
She uses them nonstop. I mean, start to finish on a 10-hour trip. I don't think that she ever casts down without one of these.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of guests that do that. They stick with these naked ball jigs. And I know they have a lot of other different brands. I've tried a few of the other ones, and I'm not going to speak illy on any of them, but this one definitely works.
I've tried some of the other ones and I had a lot of bad luck with hooks bending and pulling out and crappy.
Same with me too.
Yeah.
But again, to each their own. Don't want to, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would swear on anything else, any of the other ones. I know this was the originator of it, of the ball and chain, or even just the ball jig, and it works.
Don't
the
talk
ball
about,
and chain.
Don't talk about your girl like that.
Your wife can hear us.
Yeah, she can. The dog's barking. We're okay.
He heard me say ball and chain. He's letting her know. Hey, John Belcher, I see you there, buddy.
All right, so another question was about what day this week is light fishing trips. We have a pretty busy half-day trip tomorrow because we haven't had half-days the last couple days because the overnight trip was out and we didn't have another party boat. So we're a little busy on the half-day, Monday, Tuesday. I think Wednesday we don't have a half-day, if I recall, because we got another 39-hour Tuesday.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but Thursday looks pretty light right now, but we're getting into that time of year where we get some of those northern visitors, so we're starting to get a little busier. During the week is definitely a better time to go on those half days.
Tomorrow we're full. Tuesday we've got like 30.
Yeah.
And, that could grow too, but,
We'll just open up the reservations. We'll stop guessing.
Yeah.
Tuesday we got 30. Good guess. You were right on. Thursday we have 15. Friday we have 20. So definitely a good time to get out there. And
This whole week is looking beautiful, so, I mean...
Gorgeous weather the next 7 days. So if you want to go fishing, now's the time to do it. We got a super light load on the 39-hour trip coming up Tuesday. Only 25 or so people on the Tuesday 39-hour. We've only got 6 people on the Wednesday 12-hour extreme. So that would be a great opportunity to join us for that, too. So... I think we should go ahead and give away a 10-hour all day for 2 people real quick.
Is it so? It's one person gets 2 people strip.
Yep, yeah, one person.
We can't do it 1 and 1, right?
No, okay. We could give away 2 10-hour all days.
That's what I'm thinking. Two
10-hour all days for 2 people.
Oh, well,
yeah, we're just gonna
how
double
about
it.
that? How about that, people?
Yeah, we've got 370-ish viewers here between Facebook and YouTube. So we're going to reward you guys.
Let's do it.
For hanging out with us and watching the show. So we're going to give away a 10-hour all day for 2 people to 2 different people.
Bam.
We doubled it.
Bam.
All right. So let's see.
But you all need to send us $1 right now.
No.
If you want to be in it.
So let's see who won the first 10-hour all day.
Bob Marley. Oh,
Bob Maday.
Bob Maday.
There you go. So we still got another 10-hour all-day trip for 2 to give away, and we still got a 39-hour fishing trip for 1. Excuse me. So stay tuned. We still got a few more questions to get through. We only got about 15 minutes or so here left. One question was, how much do they charge to cook your fish in the restaurant? We talked a lot about cooking fish in the restaurant next door. It is $9.50 per person to get your fresh fish cooked up in the Friendly Fisherman restaurant right next door to us at the dock. It's $9.50 and it comes with 2 sides. Again, Cajun fried is the best. If you're looking to be healthy, the blackened
I
is
tell
really
them 3
good.
sides.
No, it's 2 sides.
Isn't it fries, coleslaw, and hush puppies?
Well, I mean, if you're counting the corn fritters, like they give you like 1 or 2. I guess it's 3 sides. I don't know. I call it 2 sides. Whatever. It's $9.50. All right. Moving on.
All right.
What's the most productive way to catch monster kingfish off the back of the boat this fall?
Give Smokey $20 when you walk on the boat.
The best way to do it is there's
40.
one of 2 ways. You can troll, you can flat line, or you can vertical jig. Those are typically how we catch those kingfish. Trolling the first 20 to 30 miles from shore, we just use a number 1, number 2 planer and a king spoon. And then once you get out there into the deeper water, one of those Rapala X-Wraps, the new Nomad design lures are killer. The Shimano Bonita lures, or Yozuri Bonita lures. There's a few different options to catch those kingfish out in deeper water. As far as flatlining goes,
Yeah,
I mean, Smokey's definitely really good. I think he might have lost it, though. He hasn't got one yet this year. I hope you're listening to this, Smokey.
Okay.
He's getting old. He might have lost it.
Oh,
Yeah, low blows coming out.
That's.
I mean, normally
There's throwing names out there, and then there's throwing people under the bus. So Smokey, Dylan said that. I don't agree with it. I don't think he's lost it. I do think you're getting old, but I don't think you've lost it yet, bud. All right. So
I don't know.
We
man.
got this.
He
They're
hasn't got a
coming in.
kingfish yet.
I know.
I caught a kingfish before Smokey caught a kingfish this year. That's bad.
That's real bad.
That's real bad.
No
yeah,
bets.
yeah. Smokey's. I don't know, man. So flatlining's another
Somebody's
option.
gonna tell Smokey said this.
Oh, I'm sure. I tell him every day when he comes in. Any kingfish today? No, you're losing it, man.
Yeah.
So he knows. But flatlining off the back of the boat. What's your recommendations for a flatline?
Okay, flat line off the back of the boat. So you don't. Okay, so it all varies per trip. So if you do have the back of the boat and we're on an all-day trip and you're anchored up, you can run a flat line out. If we're on a half day, you can be anywhere on the side. And what we do is we flip-flop the boat each stop. If we're drifting, we flip-flop the boat, and that's the best time to run a flat line, is when you're side of the boat. So you the front of the bow, if you're all the way up on the front of the bow, you can
Always
usually...
the best spot to flatline.
Everyone asks about the back of the boat. Guys, man, if I could just change one thing on party boat fishing, that a lot of people say the back of the boat is the best.
Not true at all.
It's not. and I think we discussed this last time, and I'll just real quick.
Yeah.
That's where the most tangles are. And or you've got a bunch of regulars, say like on an overnighter, of course they're going to catch the most fish. They come out with this every single week.
Yeah.
The same guys every single week, single weekend.
In my experience, the best place to fish on a boat is where the most advanced anglers are.
Yeah.
Because when you get a guy catching fish consistently, they create a little bit of a chum slick. They get the fish excited, and that's where the fishing gets good. So if you get a bunch of guys fishing up in the bow who know what they're doing, that'll be the most fish caught right there. If you get a bunch of guys on the back of the boat who are catching a lot of fish.
The 10-hour regulars do fish the bow of the boat. I will tell you that right now.
Yeah.
They do not get into the back of the boat. So, but, okay, so the question was about flatlining for kings.
Yeah.
So, best time to do that on a party boat is when we're drift fishing. And if you're on the bow of the boat, you can kind of flip-flop what side of the boat you're on because there's only really one spot all the way up there.
Yeah.
So, that is, if you're into the kingfish and that's what you want to do, if you're on a half day, go to the bow of the boat. That is going to be your best shot at flatlining. What you want to use, I would say 36 or 44 pound wire, and then you can run, a piece of Top Shot on there. 40 pounds should do it. And then 30, 40 pound braid, and that that'll should give you a ton of line, depending on what reel you're using, and a balloon, or if the drift is pretty fast, you can get away without a balloon and use a live blue runner.
Oh, that's a good one.
Live blue runners, and also if the drift is quick, the dead herring work or sardines, because they're moving along and they're flashing and turning, on the drift. So, that's
the dead thread fins are a great option to start. And then if you can get a live blue runner, it works well. But even at the end of last year, we were catching a lot of them on the Tom Tates. So you never really know.
That was weird. Personally, it was really hard for me to throw a Tom Tate onto a double treble with wire with a Tom Tate on there for kingfish. But I was proven wrong many times by Will.
Yeah.
Will was throwing them out there and getting them, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. On Tom Tates? And I'm throwing out live blue runners and even catching live sardines.
Yeah.
And they're hitting the Tom Tates before. Now, I think that particular trip was just a luck of the draw thing, because a live sardine, if you're using
the best.
Yeah, sabiki up a live sardine, and that is the best.
Hands down. Hands down, best kingfish bait.
For sure. And so if you're in the back of the boat, and we are anchored up on it all day, the same pound test and wire and everything, and balloon, like I was saying.
But if you're anchored up on an all-day trip, the front of the boat still might be the best spot, because it depends on how the current's going.
Why are you messing with kings? You should be fishing for hogfish anyway.
Next question we saw was about, did you guys catch the guy messing with your bait well? Yes, the sheriff caught those kids that were down on the dock messing with our cameras and our live bait the very next night. You don't catch the smart ones.
Boom.
You don't catch the smart ones. They came back the very next night.
You got to be kidding me.
Very next night they came right back. And the sheriff was waiting for them, so that was pretty nice. But that's what he told me. You don't catch the smart ones. And for those of you guys watching on YouTube, I apologize for the spammers. I didn't really catch that, but I went ahead and blocked both of those accounts and deleted the messages. So if you're watching on YouTube, I apologize.
Are they trying to sell something?
No, they just commented like 1 million times in a row. Blocked it, or I couldn't read anybody else's questions because they kept pushing them down. A next thing we saw here was about the Shimano Talica 2-speed. Someone said that's their favorite new fancy reel. In my opinion,
I'm gonna let you have
Daiwa Saltiga all day, baby. The Saltiga LD50 is hands down my favorite conventional reel I've ever fished with. And I just bought myself a Daiwa Saltiga spinning reel, and it is bad to the bone. It's crazy. He
does like that thing. I know.
Your black and blue conventional Saltist?
Yes.
It's got 35 pounds of drag.
Yeah.
That's how much that Saltiga spinning reel has. And it only weighs a couple ounces more than your CI4.
I like to let my fish run.
I like to stop my fish in the tracks.
I like to fight them.
I actually had to back off the drag to get a 20, 25-inch snook to pull drag out of that reel. It was crazy. It was just locked down. I love that reel. Saltiga all day.
Little reels.
Yeah, you like a lot of little stuff, don't you?
That's right, big boy.
Next question was, do you need a bent butt rod to troll on the 39 hour? No, you do not. And I wouldn't recommend it, because if you got a bent butt rod, there's only a couple rod holders that you can actually use. A straight butt rod, you're a lot more flexible, and you can use almost any of the rod holders in the stern of the 39 hour trip. So you don't need a bent butt rod. And I always tell people, especially for the 39 hour trip, my big trolling reel is also my big amberjack gag reel. So a lot of times I'll put my trolling reel on a grouper rod, like one of the grouper rods you just purchased the other day. One of those custom
that's awesome,
rods.
by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that was a bad-ass rod, man.
An
I loved it.
$89 rod. It's $90. It's less than $90 bucks.
You go see Dylan. Ask him about that rod. I don't know what the name brand on it was.
It's not a name brand. It's like
something
like
we
a
had
one-off.
made or something.
No, they were big, huge custom orders. Someone ordered like a whole container full of these things,
Dude,
thousands of them.
they're so
and we
awesome.
bought a ton of them at a show.
And if you mention this show, you might get a discount on it.
Yes, 10%.
Dude, I'm telling you, these grouper rods that he's got. I got one for this 6-aught I was telling you about, and they're 8-footers. And man, I'm telling you.
The Bull Bay rods are obviously the best, but if you want to go with the cheap $90 rod, it is badass.
I'm not comparing it to any other rod.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that particular rod, I used it this weekend, and
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It is nice. It's a solid glass plank, so there's a lot of weight to it. It's no foul guides, so it's definitely no frills. But if you want to get down and dirty with some big fish, it's a great rod.
Hey, Ron Morris had a really good question in there. You see it?
What, this
Right
one?
there, yeah.
Do you all offer a special for a guy that wanted to go out every other week?
Yes.
Yes. We do have what's called a regulars club, and our regulars club is essentially a loyalty program. The more often you go fishing, the cheaper it is to go fishing more. So our regular club has 3 tiers. We're actually going to start our regulars club signups for 2020 here in the next month or so, probably around the end of November, early December. If you want, you can email me at info at hubbardsmarina.com. When you email me, ask about the regulars club. I can forward you all that information, and I'll get you on our regulars club list. Around end of November, early December, we can get you signed up for 2020. But between now and then, I'll send you all the info so you can learn more about it.
Yeah, it's an awesome club, and trust me, it will save you a ton of money if you come a lot. You know, and you know, there's a little bit more to it. You know, but that's something that, you know, when you come in, or if you email Dylan, you know, he'll give you all the details on it. But it absolutely makes the fishing way more, you know, affordable to the guy that wants to come every week. Or guy. Sorry.
But the big thing with the regulars club is it's a lot of people have this negative view of party boats and their regulars, how they get preferential treatment and special spots, and only certain areas of the boat are only for regulars. That's not true. Our regulars club doesn't give you any preferential treatment other than you get discounts on the trips, you get some other free gifts, and when you go fishing a lot, you get to know the captain and crew a lot better, and you get that one-on-one friendship going just because you're fishing a lot, and you're fishing more affordably. You can get 5 and 10 hour trips up to 50% off. You can get long range trips up to 30% off, but you got to be fishing 15, 20 times a year or more.
Which is nothing. I mean, for
that's
the people
twice
that are,
a month.
The people that are watching this right now, watching me and you do this, I think that every one of them fishes twice a month. You know,
hopefully.
So if you come out with us, you know, if you come out about 15 times a year or so, your trips are half price.
Yeah.
So it's $27 for a half day, and $45 for all day.
$27.50 for a half day.
$45 for 10 hours
for
of
a
fishing.
10 hour.
That's your bait.
And
you
then,
know, and the ride out there, and you know, we got an air conditioned cabin, we got bathrooms on board,
and a 39-hour trip goes from $369 to only $258. So you save $100.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's over $100 off the overnighter by joining the club. But you have to come fishing the rest of the year with us too. You know, we want you out there. You know, it's not just to come out there 3 times and say, you know, that's not what it's all about. We want to get you out there, and we want to have a good time with you. And you'll end up fishing on the bow of the boat. Watch.
All right, so we're getting really, really close on time. My wife's going to come in and yell at us at any time. No, not really. She's super sweet. She wouldn't do that. But I need to go help with the baby here soon and get to bed because we both got to work tomorrow. So we're going to rip through the last couple questions here real fast. If I didn't get to your question, if you posted a question kind of later in the video, I always try to go through the comments and answer your question, typing them out later, either tonight or tomorrow. So if we didn't answer your question live, I apologize. But let's rip through these last ones really fast. Someone said party boats don't compare to private charters. I need a lot more time to answer that because, in my opinion, they're both great. A private charter, you get more one-on-one help. You get a lot more customizable trip. You definitely tend to catch a little bit better quality fish, but that's because you get more one-on-one help and you get less lines in the water. You're on a smaller, faster boat that gets you out there quicker, more fishing time. But on a party boat, the best part about party boat fishing is that camaraderie. You're meeting other people. You're learning from other people. I learned how to do what I do and fish how I fish from growing up on the back deck of a party boat.
Absolutely. It's a great time.
Yeah, party boat fishing is awesome for that reason. And it's comfortable. We were just talking about that small boat you were on. It's a badass boat. It's super fast.
Sure.
But a 2-foot seas, you're beating the heck out of yourself.
Sure you are.
Whereas on a party boat, you're cruising, you're drinking a beer, you're sitting in AC.
That's right.
You're eating a hot cheeseburger.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have the best cheeseburgers within 10 miles. I've been saying that for years.
Guaranteed. So party boat fishing definitely doesn't compare to private charter fishing because they're two opposite things. But in my opinion, they've got
Bring a
benefits.
spinning rod on a party boat, and we will have you catching fish from start to finish.
Yep. So another question was about sheep's head on our trips. Why don't we talk about sheep's head? They're more of an inshore fish where we're at. I know up on the Northeast they catch sheep's head from boats. We don't really do that here. We catch sheep's head from the dock and from the bridge, and we're getting into that sheep's head time of year.
I think that is it somebody from up north that was asking that because they have they have a different sheep's head up there.
I've never been out of
It's
Florida.
another fish. Yeah. You've never been out of the state?
I'm just kidding.
Okay. All right. So up north, there is some kind of fish up there called a sheep's head. I've heard people say this. It's not the same sheephead we have at our docks. But those sheephead, yes, they are offshore, a few of them. Like, it's so seldom. Honestly, the only time we ever catch sheephead on the party boat is after a really bad storm.
Yeah, when the water gets really muddy behind those cold fronts,
They
the
come
sheep's
out
head
of the
love it.
Yeah, they come out of the intercoastal and whatnot, and they move offshore to get out in a little clearer water so they can feed. I guess that's why they come out, but we don't ever get them unless it's right after a bad storm, and we'll get sheephead, we'll get trout, and we'll catch catfish. Yeah, and you only get those right. I mean, because we're the first boats out. Let's face it, we're the first boats out after a bad storm because it's still choppy and chunky out there.
Yeah,
you know, we'll still get out there, and those are the only time we really catch sheephead. We do from time to time.
Yeah,
we'll get into a mix of them, but not enough to.
And what Frank's talking about,
we don't target them ever.
Yeah, what Frank's targeted about is those cold fronts. The cold fronts are going to start here soon. Real important. Go to our website, click fishing trips, scroll down to weather links. On our weather links page towards the bottom, you'll find that video, How Weather Affects Fishing. Really cool video that talks about timing your trips around those cold fronts because it becomes super important to time your trip around those cold fronts. And I don't got a lot of time here. We're already kind of a little over time, so I don't want to get into talking about it because I could talk a long time about timing your trips around fronts. But that video talks a lot about it if you want to watch it here later. Now,
we got some raffles to do here.
Yeah, we got to give away a 10-hour all day for two and a free 39-hour.
There it is.
Two more things real quick. Someone asked about what weight on the naked ball jig. I really like the half ounce or the 1 ounce naked ball jigs, but Christina does really well with even the 2 ounce jigs.
Yeah, that's. Yeah.
But the one,
I like the smaller
basically
one.
The lighter you go, the more natural it looks, and generally the better chance, in my opinion, of a hogfish. But also the harder it is to feel the bite.
Right.
So you got to kind of balance that out. If you use a heavier jig, it's easier to feel the bite. It's easier to feel the bottom, and it makes everything a lot easier. But a lighter jig looks a little bit more natural. Do you agree?
Yeah, so I apologize. I was reading it up a little bit, but so I'm a 1 ounce jig. If that's what,
1 ounce jig.
Yeah, the 1 ounce jig is where I would go. But again, it depends on that 10 hour, where you're at, because there's some days I fish the 90-foot bottom form, and some days a 60-foot. 90-foot bottom, you're going to want the 2 ounce. And some people even go up to the 4, and I think that's a little overkill, but again, to each their own. Everyone has their own deal on everything. But as far as the naked ball jig goes, I like the 1 ounce. That's
Cool.
what I'm going with.
Now the last question we're gonna answer before we get off of here is about red snapper season. I've been getting a ton of phone calls and emails about it. Please read that announcement
For the love of God.
Read it a little closer. That is private recreational red snapper only, and it's only 6 additional days. So this year, private recreational anglers had a 31-day red snapper season. We had a 62-day red snapper season. Long story short, FWC and Governor Ron DeSantis looked at the private recreational season. They said, hey, we didn't catch all the quota, so they added 6 additional red snapper days for private recreational anglers. That's Saturday and Sunday only. It started yesterday, and it's the last 3 weekends in October. So it's 6 days, Saturday and Sunday only, and it's for private recs only.
Yeah.
So that means on your private boat.
Don't call us.
On your private boat with your buddies or your buddy's private boat, no money can exchange hands. If money exchanges hands, it's a charter and thus illegal to harvest red snapper, because we're for hire anglers and we're not included in it. A lot of people say, well, it says for hire in the email announcement. That's talking about state for hire. That means for hire charter boats and party boats that cannot leave state waters. So you cannot go beyond 9 miles. In our area, we can't catch red snapper. At least we can't catch consistently large red snapper inside 9 miles.
It has happened before.
It's happened, but I wouldn't run a charter for red snapper.
I mean, if you want to give me $2,000, I will give it my best.
All right.
No, that's not true. Don't call us for red snappers.
But we can catch everything else.
Everything
else is open right now until the end of October. We have amberjack. So everything else that swims in the Gulf is open season except for red snapper and triggerfish. So great time of year to go out, but we cannot harvest red snapper. We talked a little bit about that Wednesday 12-hour extreme. I want to remind you guys, got a super light Wednesday 12-hour extreme. We got a super light Tuesday 39-hour. We got light loads on the half day there Tuesday and Thursday. And hopefully you can join us this week. We got beautiful weather this week. Next week, about 8-9 days from now, it looks like we're going to get some bad weather in the form of a big cold front. So definitely, if you want to go fishing, do it in the next 7 days or so. Do want to make sure everybody remembers our Fox 13 news thing. We do every Friday morning at 8:15 a.m. on Fox Channel 13 News. You can watch it on their website if you're from out of state or not in our area, or they post it on their website after we film it, so you can always watch it on their website as well. October 19th, so tonight's Sunday, the coming Saturday, October 19th, 6 days from now, is our Bass Pro Shop seminar. If you want to come join me at the Tampa Bass Pro Shop seminar, October 19th, 2 p.m., we're going to be giving away free fishing trips at that event, and we're going to be doing the same thing, talking fishing, but in person. So hopefully you can join me October 19th at Tampa Bass Pro Shops. And then 7 days from now, next Sunday, this coming Sunday, October 20th, we will not have a live show unless you want to come over and do this.
I'm busy that day. What day was it? No, I've got a double on Saturday, so that can't happen. I would, but
We're not doing the live show October 20th. The next live show will be October 27th. So this coming weekend, no live show, but we do have a Saturday Bass Pro Shop seminar. Next live show will be October 27th. And the reason is I'm leaving town, going to Texas for a National Marine Fisheries seminar, or National Marine Fisheries meeting, fighting for your rights to go fishing. So, that was our announcements. We answered our questions. Time to give away some free trips.
yeah, well, yeah, at least one, right?
Yeah, exactly. At least something. We're giving away a 10-hour all-day for 2 guests and a 39-hour fishing trip for 1. We're going to start with the 10-hour all-day. So let's see who won a 10-hour all-day for 2. This is the second 10-hour all-day for 2 that we're giving away, courtesy of Captain Frank and all you guys watching at home, since we had...
Who's the winner?
Deborah? I'm going to go with Deborah Landry.
No, it's Deborah Lee.
Deborah Lee Hansen Landry.
Hassan Landry.
Yep, give us a smiley face. That was probably good luck.
I wonder who she was talking to, me or you.
Definitely me, I think.
Don't know where to put my hands.
So now we're going to give away a... what was that? Landry. Yep. Now we're going to give away a 39-hour fishing trip for 1. Don't forget, guys, make sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Simply search Hubbard's Marina. Check us out on Instagram. I'm trying to build that page. If you're not following us on Instagram already, make sure you check it out. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our Facebook page. You can keep up with us through the days. We try to do some live videos. I know I've been slacking on the live video front in the morning. I'm going to get better at that this week, I promise, guys. But let's see who won that 39-hour fishing trip.
Oh, man. Here's the big one. This is what
Drum roll.
287 people have listened to us for.
We had 287 plus 60 something.
I know we had more
I can't
than
do
that.
the math.
That's about 350. 340 something.
Yeah, see,
yeah.
You can do the math.
That's okay.
All right, so who won a 39-hour fishing trip?
Who wants it bad right now? Let's hear it.
Drum roll, please. Oh, Frank's got it.
It's me!
Eric Brown from Georgia. Eric Brown. Remember, guys.
Awesome, Eric.
If you were picked as one of the lucky winners, you do have to message our page within about 10 minutes or so to make sure that you were watching live, because this is for live watchers only. We'll see you October 27th for our next show. Hopefully October 9th or October 19th at Bass Pro Shops. And even better, hopefully this week on one of those 39-hour trips Tuesday, the Wednesday 12-hour extreme, or the Tuesday or Thursday 5-hour half days. Remember, if you're too busy to go fishing,
you're just too busy.
Darn right. You guys have a happy Sunday night. Thanks for watching, y'all.